In this video, we're going to take a look at the if function in Excel 2016. Actually, the if function has been the same, I think, since the very beginning of Excel. But we're using Excel 2016 in this video. So, the if function is used to make a decision about putting either one value into a cell or another value into a cell. And here we have an example of where we either want to put the value $4 into the cell, or we want to put 0 in the cell. So we know that our rule is if the order amount is $25 or more, then the shipping amount is 0. And if it is less than $25, then the shipping amount is going to be $4, which is this cell right here. So we're going to refer to these cells. We're not going to build the numbers 25 and 4 into our formulas because it makes them harder to change. So here's what our decision is going to look like. We're going to take a look at in this cell. First of all, we're just going to see if they're eligible for free shipping. Okay, so we're just going to put a logical value in here, and we're going to use this column to determine the actual shipping amount. So how do I know if they are entitled to free shipping? Well, I know they're entitled. Let's put a formula here. I know they're entitled to free shipping if this number is greater than or equal to this number. And because we're going to be copying this formula down the page, I want A2 to become A3 and A4 and A5 and so on, but I want the H3 to remain the same. So I'm going to press function key number 4 to put the dollar signs in and make that an absolute cell reference. And I should get true because $47 is greater than or equal to 25. And I'm going to copy this down. I'm not going to scroll. So let's look at where we have the different values here. False is 14. We got true and true and true for these three values, and then 7 is going to be false. 19 and 20 are going to be false. 16 and 18 are false. And so it is telling me whether I get free shipping or not based on the order amount. But what I want to know is I want to know what the actual shipping amount is going to be, whether it's going to be $0 or $4. So this value here is going to help me compute the amount of the shipping over in column C. And I know that that's going to use an if function. So let's go to our formulas tab here. And the if function is a logical function. This is one of the shorter lists of functions. And the one that we want is the if function. And we get this function arguments dialog box that pops up here. And our logical test is, if you read down here, it says any expression or value that can be evaluated is true or false. Well, this is true or false in column B, so that's a logical test. So click on that, and we've got a logical test. Now, the value, if it's true, should be 0. And the value, if false, however, should be $4. So we'll click on H4, and again, we're going to copy that formula, and the H4 is not moving, so press function key F4 and it'll put the dollar signs in and make that an absolute cell reference, and click on OK, and it tells me that the shipping amount is 0. I'll copy this down as far as I copied the logical tests in column B, and every place there's a true here I get a 0 over on the right. Every place where there's a false I get a 4 over on the right. And the only remaining thing I need to do here is go back and click on my accounting format, and it'll display these numbers as dollar and cent values. So that's how the if function works. It's really straightforward. You don't have to use the dialog box. If you want to, you can just go up here and you can type it in like this. Just put commas between the three arguments. As a matter of fact, I will delete this here, and I'll just type it in. Once you get used to using the if, you don't really need that dialog box anymore. So it pops up here and it tells me that it wants a logical test, and the logical test I know is right next door. So I'm going to click on B2, comma, the value of true is 0, comma, and the value of false is going to be this number over here, and I want dollar signs in that to make it absolute, and then close the parentheses. So the three arguments to the if function are the logical test, the value of true, and the value of false, and hit enter, and I've got exactly what I had in there before. I just wrote it from scratch instead of going through the dialog box. Another thing you can do is, instead of putting a separate column here for your logical test, you can actually put the logical test into your if function as well. Let's go. If you want to edit after you've done this, you can get that dialog box back by clicking on the FX here to the left of the formula bar. And it'll bring up all of the arguments that are currently in that formula. And instead of doing the logical test in column B, I'm going to put my own logical test in. And my own logical test is going to be the same thing that was in column B, which is going to be A2 is greater than or equal to my shipping minimum, and that needs to be an absolute cell reference. And so put the dollar signs in and hit enter, and I get 0 for shipping. And if I copy that formula all the way down, you should not see any changes, because I should get the exact same results as before, and I do. So if it's easier, and it usually is, to break your problem up into two parts, one with the logical test and the other part with the if function, that's fine. If you want to combine them like I did here, that's fine too. We get to the same answer either way. It's just basically a matter of which way you happen to think is easier to solve the problem. And in our next videos, we'll take a look at some other logical functions.